Hi everyone, I'm Steve and welcome to episode 3 of My Vinyl Adventures. Now I'm going to be starting off this episode with a record that I haven't actually bought. I got given it by a friend of mine called Phil, and this is that record. Now you may remember from a previous episode that I am a big fan of Star Wars and was contemplating buying The Phantom Menace from Discogs, but when I went there it had actually been bought by somebody else, so it just goes to show you've got to be quick and act on these things at the time. Now this awesome Star Wars vinyl, it's not just Star Wars. I mean, I played the first side, all the great Star Wars songs that you know and love, the Imperial March, the main Star Wars theme, things like that, which sound absolutely brilliant on a vinyl system. Now, but this has also got 2001 A Space Odyssey on the B-side. All of it performed by the London Philharmonic Orchestra, and for shame, I've never actually seen 2001 A Space Odyssey. I know the main song because I've been a pro wrestling fan for many years, so I know that from Ric Flair's entrance into the ring. But I listened to the music for 2001 A Space Odyssey, and it was really, really good, to the point where I've now ordered the film on DVD. It has arrived, and I'm just waiting for the opportunity to watch it. So, a fantastic space-themed album from, I think it's actually from 1977, so this was released the year that Star Wars A New Hope came out, and this record is, very old, in fantastic condition, plays absolutely brilliantly, so thank you very much for that, Phil. My next set of records I went to a car boot sale last week. Obviously I didn't do that today because it snowed lots and lots, so instead of going out buying records I've been out building snowmen, but that's a completely different video for a completely different channel. Anyway, I looked all around the car boot sales, couldn't find anything, found lots of classical music which isn't really my thing, not at the moment anyway, maybe I will get into that at one point. I found a whole stack of 12 inches from the 80s, but it was all mainly sort of dance music, which again, not really my thing, and some of them didn't look in great condition. Almost on the verge of going home thinking this has been a failed quest to find some vinyl, when I came across two stalls next to each other. One had a stack about that high of vinyl, one had a box that big full of it. Now they were both 7 inches. I haven't been buying many 7 inches recently. It's mainly been albums, to be honest with you, because I don't mind changing over the record after 20 odd minutes, but to change it after every 5 minutes, you kind of think, can I really be bothered? But at the same time, you're going to be missing out on a lot of great B-sides if you don't do that. So I went along and I got a few treats. Now, I got this, which is Emotional Rescue by the Rolling Stones. Not really one of the Rolling Stones' better songs, probably more towards what I'd call one of the Rolling Stones' worst songs. The music's fine, and in fact the second half of the song where it sort of goes a bit more instrumental, I quite like that. But I wasn't keen on Mick Jagger's voice in this. He kind of sounded a bit like Aaron Neville. Not that there's anything wrong with Aaron Neville, but when I'm listening to the Rolling Stones, I want to hear that that nice rock voice. So yeah, that was okay. What else did I get? I got back in the day when I used to read Metal Hammer and Kerrang! Before they became sort of magazines that pray at the altar of bands like Korn, when they did actually used to follow proper rock and heavy metal. I used to read about Queensryche. Now, I, for the life of me, can't remember if I've actually listened to much Queensryche, but I thought, why not? These were 50p each, and it's Jet City Woman and Silent Lucidity. So, two great ones there. And they've both got some nice live versions on the other side. And as you can see from the stickers on the front, this is 12 minutes and this is 11 minutes. So for 50p each, that's a pretty good bargain, I'd say. I got this. War of the Worlds. I like the film. I'm talking about the original film here, obviously, not the atrocious Tom Cruise version that came out a few years ago. I do quite like it. I'm not massively into it, like I know a lot of people are, and they absolutely adore this music. I wasn't even sure that I knew the music. It's Jeff Wayne, obviously, that's done the music for War of the Worlds, until I put it on, and I heard it, and I sort of thought, oh yeah, I do know the War of the Worlds music. And when's this from? 1978, so yeah. Came out 1 year after the Star Wars LP, but that cost me 25p, so that's pretty good. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but on there is actually a scratch across it. Now I was a bit nervous when I bought these records. I didn't really look at the quality. I thought, well, 25p each, let's just go for it. But it plays absolutely fine, really well in fact. And it's another one that's played. Is this another one played by the London? No, not at all. But it is an orchestra of some kind, I'm sure. I thought it might be the London Philharmonic Orchestra or the London Symphony Orchestra again, but it doesn't say. So we'll assume that it isn't. I still haven't found what I'm looking for by U2. Not one of my favourite U2 songs, but still one that I like. If I'm honest, I looked at the sleeve and I remembered, I mean, this is the Rattle and Hum era, which I like, and I thought, it's Desire in the Name of Love, and it wasn't. But I still like this one. I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Didn't the Pet Shop Boys cover that or someone like that? You know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. Eddie and the Hot Rods. I have no idea who they are. The reason I bought this is because on side 2 is a version, they do a cover, and it's a mix-up between Van Morrison's Gloria and Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. So I listened to that earlier. The Gloria bit's a bit shouty at the start, but then it goes into Satisfaction. It's not as good as the Rolling Stones version. It's quite a bit harder, a lot more raw, but you know, to their credit, at least they did it in their own style rather than one of these covers that tries to be exactly the same as the band that they're covering. So, not as good as the Rolling Stones, but nice effort. And yeah, whoever thought that I'd have Eddie and the Hot Rods in my collection? And it is live. All the music on this is live, so I quite like live music. I'm sure you've all seen E.T., or at least know of E.T. Great film, for a favourite of mine when I was a kid, and to this day still. And I thought, great. Now this one is by the London Symphony Orchestra, and I've been listening to I've obviously listened to the rock music, which was done by the London Symphony Orchestra. There's the Star Wars music done by the London Philharmonic Orchestra. I thought anything done by these big orchestras is going to be good, and especially on vinyl, it sounds really great. So I thought, yeah, 25p, can't go wrong with that. Got it home. I don't know if you can see this. Stevie Wonder. And the songs are I Just Called to Say I Love You, which is probably Stevie Wonder's most famous song. And on the B side we have I Just Called to Say I Love You, instrumental version, or probably these days they'd call that karaoke version. So I didn't get the E.T. song that I was really hoping for, but I did get a Motown classic. So I'm not so disappointed with that, but I'd still like to get the E.T. music on vinyl. So that was all of the ones that I got from the car boot sale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that cost me a grand total of £3. So, pretty good. Now, eBay. What vinyl collector doesn't spend their time browsing around eBay, and Discogs for that matter? I'm a big fan of hair metal from the 80s, so I started looking for Poison, and I found this beauty. The single is So Tell Me Why. Not one of their most famous songs, but you know, still a pretty good song. The thing that attracted me to this is that, number one, it's clear vinyl. Now, I don't know if this actually has no label on it whatsoever. I don't know if this is because the previous user took the label off, or that it never did have a label, so I actually had no idea which side to put on first. But anyway, the other thing that attracted me to it is the B-side, which is just called Guitar Solo. Now, I love guitars. I've been trying for years to practice and play myself. CC DeVille from Poison is a great guitarist, and I thought, what a cool thing to have as a B-side of a record. Not a song, not even a bit of a song, but just a guitar solo from a live gig. So, you know, I played the song. I have to say, the audio quality of this is shocking. And I know it's not my record player because it plays all of these other records absolutely fine that I've had for, you know, that are decades older than this one. But yeah, the music quality of the A side, So Tell Me Why, is really bad. The quality of the guitar solo is better, and it's a fun solo. It really is. It's the kind of solo that you expect to hear at a sort of a balls out rock concert. Yeah, lots of twiddling, lots of going from fast to slow to high notes to low notes. So the kind of solo that Steve Vai and Joe Satriani would be very proud of. Now, I have one more record to show you. Now, you'll probably remember from the last episode, if you listened to the last episode, that I was moaning about the fact that HMV don't sell vinyl, and that I have some vouchers and I want to spend it on vinyl. So, I went back to the Cambridge. No, I didn't go back to Cambridge. I went back to the Milton Keynes HMV last week, and they actually had some vinyl. They had about 10 different vinyls to choose from. And the one that I settled on, I say the one I settled on, it's the one that I looked at first. I am a big fan of this band. This album is probably one of the most longly awaited albums possibly in music history. I know Guns N' Roses fans were waiting quite a while for Chinese Democracy, but you weren't waiting that long compared to this. Finally, it's the release of Beach Boys' Smile. The album that should have come out in the 60s, the album that part of the songs made it to Smiley Smile, the album that Brian Wilson brought out himself in 2004 as another Smile. But this is Smile, possibly, probably, maybe, as the Beach Boys would have released it in the 60s, if internal struggles and Brian's state of mind and record companies hadn't all sort of got in the way of it happening. This is probably how it would have been released, with extra tracks as well. Now, the thing that quite surprised me about this is, and has always surprised me, is Good Vibrations, Good Vibrations, Good Vibrations. Now, Good Vibrations made it onto the Smiley Smile album, but had actually been released before the Smile album was supposed to be released. And Brian Wilson never actually wanted it on the album, because in his mind it had already been released as a single, so why should it go on an album that's coming out after the single? So, why is it featured so much on the artwork? Perhaps I need to read up and find out exactly why, but I'm absolutely chuffed to have this. This front cover and the back cover are made to look like, you know, the original, 10, 12 song album. But you actually get a lot more than that. You've got this little sleeve on the back which shows you that you do actually get 2 records worth of material, and on the second side you've got some demos. You do have Good Vibrations and all kinds of things, but this is a really nice presentation. You've obviously got the double gatefold there. Inside here we've got a little booklet which has got some, I don't know if you can see that, which has got some photos of the band there. You know, which is a nice touch. But it's also got a little essay there, written by Brian himself, sort of explaining how this album came to be, all of the things that got in the way, all of the pressures of, you know, family and everything like that. So, you know, that's really nice. And then on the other side, you've got all the lyrics. God, this must take you, but everybody who's got a vinyl, it's so great getting a record out and either using this, you know, the record slipcase itself, or sometimes you have a lyric sheet inside, but to be able to sit there and read the lyrics and hold them in your hand and actually see text which you can read, rather than a CD case which is that small and has lyrics so tiny written on there, or a download where you don't even get the lyrics and you have to go to one of the lyrics websites to have a look. I like reading through the lyrics. I like reading through them on something that I can hold properly and read properly, but I haven't actually played this, so I'm intending to play this tonight. I've been looking forward so much to sort of getting this album. I really wanted to get there's a big box set that you can get. I think I mentioned this in the first episode, which is something like £100 or £150. It includes this double vinyl album. It includes something like 3 CDs, 2 singles, I think 2 single versions of a couple of singles, but a very expensive big box set, and I think you can pay a whole lot more and buy one that lights up. I don't know why you want one that lights up, but you know, maybe you like albums that light up. So, pretty excited to finally get to listen to Smile, as at least as Brian Wilson wanted the Beach Boys to release it. So that's a pretty special album, and it's pretty heavy as well, so I'm thinking this is probably recorded on a 180 gram vinyl, which is nice quality. And it has a sticker, that's the receipt, somewhere in here. There was a sticker on the packaging which I took off, and it says, "The most anticipated album in rock and roll history." So that's probably where I got that from earlier on. And it does say 280 gram vinyl LPs in gatefold package. So really, really nice. So since the last time I saw you, I've been pretty busy with my record buying. There is more to come. Unfortunately, I ordered a couple more things from eBay last week and they didn't get sent out till Friday, so they unfortunately didn't get here in time to be on this episode. But that gives me an excuse to come back and make another episode, doesn't it? So, lots of lovely vinyl that I've got to listen to. I think next time, because I probably won't have enough for a whole episode of just new purchases, because I'm trying to calm myself down on my vinyl purchasing, because I've recently also got into astronomy as well. So, you know, my money's being pulled from all different ways. So, but in here I've got a whole stack of Transvision Vamp Wendy James vinyl. Some of it 12-inch albums, 7 inches, picture discs. A lot of it's been signed because I met Wendy a few years ago. So next episode will be the Wendy James episode of My Vinyl Adventures. But for now, this has been the Car Boot Sale Poison Star Wars Beach Boys Smile episode 3 of My Vinyl Adventures. And thank you very much for listening. And as always, you're kind of getting an idea of the kind of music I like. If you've got any recommendations, please do leave a comment on this YouTube video. Tell me where to go to find the stuff, what I should be listening to. I did have Sean who recommended me Face Dances on vinyl by The Who. I'm still trying to get hold of that. I'm being a bit of a miser and trying to get it as cheap as I can, so I keep missing out on getting it on certain auctions. But thank you, Sean, for that recommendation, and I am still trying to chase down that record. So yeah, any other recommendations are gratefully appreciated. And thank you very much for listening. Love to, if you've got a YouTube channel yourself, leave a comment and show me your YouTube channel so that I can see your vinyl collection and all the records you've been buying and listening to, because, you know, to me that's really interesting. Until episode 4, I've been Steve. This has been My Vinyl Adventures. Bye-bye!